These fruit-filled and spicy cookies will be some of the best things you've ever eaten. While gathering up your ingredients, be sure to preheat your oven to 375 or 190 degrees Celsius. When it comes to these cookies, you want a fresh orange if at all possible. You can substitute with orange juice, but you won't get the same flavor, so I recommend going out and finding a medium orange. If you have some blemishes, it's okay. You just want to check to make sure that it is firm when you squeeze it, and then you're going to need a juicer, which is handy, but you can use your hand, and then you want a zester. So once you've determined this orange is a good orange, you're going to just zest it lightly. I like to hold on to the points and then just zest until you see a pale orange. You don't want to go until it's white or it will be bitter. And then you just go all around until you get all the zest off that you can manage. If there is any zest left on your grater, you can use the back of a spoon and go the opposite direction of the grates to get it off safely. This will keep you from cutting your fingers. Do not put your fingers on here or you are going to cut yourself. Set this aside, and then we're going to need 1 teaspoon of orange zest, or about 3 grams. The remaining of this you could put in a plastic bag and then just freeze it for another project. Or you can use it right away. Or if you really want to, you could go ahead and put both teaspoons in with your sugar and get a very fragrant cookie. But 1 teaspoon is perfect for this recipe, as I find it gives a good balance with the spices. Next, you're going to roll the orange to make it easier to juice and cut it in half. You only need 1/2 of the orange, so the other half you can feel free to juice for yourself or just eat it. In a small bowl, we're going to use 1 1/4 cups of flour, that's 187 grams, and to that we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2.5 grams, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 3 grams, 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom, 0.5 grams, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, 0.5 grams, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 gram, and finally 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, or 0.5 grams. If you don't have allspice, you can mix it match with cloves or nutmeg, or even just leave it out. It's not that big of a deal, but the cardamom is very essential for this recipe to get a really good flavor to the cookie. Mix it up until it's well combined and looks like this. Now this next step is optional. In a small bowl, I like to combine the sugar. 1/4 cup of white sugar, 50 grams, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 56 grams, with that orange zest, and let it sit there a while to get that orange zest to fuse with that sugar a bit. In a large bowl, we need 1/2 cup of softened butter, that's about 113 grams. You want it where it will give away when you push with the spoon, but you don't want it to be so soft that it just collapses. Now obviously you can use a mixer here, you can use a handheld mixer or a stand mixer. I'm just making them by hand. We're going to add in that sugar mixture, and then we're going to add in just a little bit of honey to give it a flavor and bring out that orange zest. We're putting in 2 tablespoons, or 21 grams. And we're going to mix this all together until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Once that's nicely combined, you're going to put in 1 large egg, or 50 grams. Now at first, when you're mixing together any kind of cookie dough, it will look curdled like this. Don't worry, just keep beating and it will come back together. Once that happens, we're going to put in our flour mixture and 3 tablespoons of orange juice that we juiced earlier. That's 45 milliliters. Now if you didn't have an orange, you can just use plain orange juice here. You're going to mix this until it just starts to come together. Toward the end, it'll be really hard to stir the dough. That is normal. You're going to then add in 1 cup, or 120 grams of cranberries, and fold them in until it's nicely combined. It'll cling to your spoon. That is completely normal. We're going to drop a heaping tablespoon of this batter onto a ungreased cookie sheet about 2 inches or 5 centimeters apart. And you're going to bake this 8 to 14 minutes, or until it's lightly golden brown on the edges. It should be a golden brown on the bottom, and then you'll have cranberries throughout. These cookies are just so lovely to eat. They have this fruity floral taste throughout. I can't really describe them to you because I've never had anything quite like it, but it's just such a fragrant, flavorful cookie. They just make you happy eating them, especially if you love cranberries and orange. I do recommend trying this recipe at least once and see if you think they're as great as I do. I hope you enjoyed watching this recipe. Here are your ingredients if you want to follow along. Thank you for visiting us at jacksonsjob.com, and as always, happy baking.